Okay.
We'll find out in a second.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Here we go, boys. All right, guys, welcome into the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. We've got Mark, Mack, and Landon here bringing you guys some Week 12 stuff. And listen, Week 11 was good to me. I am on the verge of going 6-0. Mark, what do you think? What do you think about that? What do you think about
Mackenzie?
that? Huh?
It's not over yet. In fact, in a couple hours, when my 3 players, well, 2 players in a DST, start putting up digits, and I know that sounds contradictory,
Ain't
but
gonna happen.
I got number 15 on, but really who I'm going for tonight is Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler.
So Landon and I have already decided that Keenan Allen needs to have a down game. I think, Landon, we have him in a couple spots each, and we've already locked up those W's. So I think anytime we
just don't need him to have a big game.
We're going to play him. We just need that little down game. I also need Mike Williams to score less than 15, and I'll lock up my 6th win of the week, which I desperately need that win to stay atop the leaderboard. But enough about us. We are 20 minutes out from game time here. Chiefs and Chargers should be a good one. Hopefully lots of points put up on the board for both sides. Make it an interesting and exciting Monday night game, as the last couple have been a little bit dud-worthy. Man, that how bad was that Chicago game last night, though?
I stopped watching. I'll watch just about every single game, and my girlfriend was surprised when I said, "Hey, do you want to watch a movie or something, or is there something you'd rather do with me than watch this dreadful game?"
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Those
Cooper guys should have been. Both those teams should
stop.
This crazy new thing called pass
Whoa.
protection. It's fun. It's really useful too on a football field.
In real news, Todd Gurley looked fantastic.
He did look at there. So it was almost
sure did.
Addition by subtraction, where the Rams lost 2 offensive linemen, and their rush their running got better, actually. So it got better. So we'll see. Hopefully it's good for Todd Gurley. I thought it would have been poetic justice almost if Mark beat you with Todd Gurley going off after you swapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not looking too good though. But anyways, what are we here to talk about?
We got
tonight,
a couple
guys?
of people in the chat with us. Danny S, welcome, sir. I haven't seen you around. And we got our boy Easy Daddy. He said he's watching The Voice with the fiance, so no audio. Sorry, sir. Just chatting via live chat. That's how serious Easy is about his fantasy football.
Supporting us.
And supporting us. Yeah, he is an SMS crew forever. Danny S just said he just got rid of Todd Gurley, as did I, sir. To this man sitting to my left, this beautiful, handsome man wearing the Patrick Mahomes jersey. No, that's not Aaron Rodgers. Sport and stash.
Still look all right.
Yeah, we did a dynasty trade. Todd Gurley for Odell Beckham Jr. So that's what I'm dealing with too. I feel good about the trade still, even though Odell has been down, but it could come back to bite me this week, which is great. We're talking week 12 waiver pickups. It is getting down to the nitty-gritty. These wins are starting to matter. These flex plays are, the make or break part of your season. So we're kicking it here with the quarterback, running back, wide receiver positions. There are a couple tight end positions that we will talk about, as well as defenses. They didn't fit on the screen, weren't as important, but I think there's one tight end that is definitely worth picking up in week 12 and onward for the fantasy playoffs. But we'll get to that at the end of the show. So quarterback position, we're going to kick it over to Lando. He's going to talk about Baker Mayfield, 54% owned on Yahoo right now. He goes up against the Miami Dolphins this week. Could the matchup be any better, sir?
It really couldn't. And this is the chance to play Mr. It's a big bye week. We've got the Cardinals. We've got the Chiefs, Chargers, and Vikings, all pretty much top 12. I guess Rivers might be a guy that's outside the top 12 quarterbacks, but Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, and Kirk Cousins are in your starting lineup for your fantasy team. So you're going to have, and unless you have someone lucky like Jimmy Garoppolo out on the waiver wire, or I don't know who else.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You have to go towards one of these streamers. And Baker Mayfield, if he's going to be started, you're going to start him against Miami. They looked pretty good last week. They had a big win against Pittsburgh, so the confidence might be a little higher. Odell Beckham might be finding his groove a little bit with Mr. Mayfield. So that's who my number one priority is going to go for. Jeff Driscoll looked pretty dang good, and they play Washington this week. He's only 3% owned, so he's most definitely on your waiver wire. And Derek Carr. Now, this is kind of one on the edge. He's been streamed for a few consecutive weeks. If someone had him, was streaming him, and they started their starters last week, maybe he was dropped. So they play the Jets. I would say the only other option would be who's the last quarterback that was kind of on the fringe.
Didn't we say Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold. He threw 4 touchdowns last week.
He was looking good.
Impressive.
To one of my favorite waiver wire pickups of the week, but we will get there later. Derek Carr, I wanted to bring up. I went out on our podcast, said that Derek Carr would be a top 10 option. I did say quarterback 1, so maybe I'll be able to save myself. But we've got Pat Mahomes going up tonight. I do believe that he will find himself into the top 10. But Derek Carr right now sits at the QB 11 for the week. So if you streamed him, you got a QB1 performance or fringe. No,
yeah,
definitely didn't kill you. He was great, but no real super standout games. I mean, Derek Carr was serviceable, but it wasn't fireworks like you would expect. It was a little bit of a down week for the quarterback position. But yeah, Derek Carr, he is up considerably from last week. 69% owned now. It is not the most readily available play for a lot of people. Jeff Driscoll, 3% owned, is certainly going to be a viable option for almost every single fantasy player. And when you look at who's coming up on bye, we've got KC, we've got Minnesota, Arizona, and the last one is...
I already said them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you weren't listening?
No, I was not. But when you look at
the Chargers,
right, the Chargers. So when you look at that
Chargers.
slew of quarterbacks, the options become less and less. And
when you're getting Jeff Driscoll, who's like a 2% owned quarterback, don't think that this guy is Matt Stafford just because he happened to find a lot of success with his line. But I think you've got a definite upside with Jeff Driscoll's legs. He managed to put up quite an impressive showing yesterday against the Cowboys. And going forward, I think that's a good thing. He doesn't have Matt Stafford's arm, but definitely has some confidence. Like that injury for Jeff Driscoll, I think, in that one. And going forward, especially this week against Washington, like really, is there anyone who hasn't stomped all over Washington yet this year? I just think stars are aligning for at least one hot week from this guy again.
Now, Baker Mayfield. Last week, 17 of 32, 192 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Heavily targeted Odell, gave him 10 targets. Odell's now got 46% of his team's total air targets. Going up against Miami, I wasn't overly impressed with him last week. Yes, they beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense we thought was legit. They kind of got exposed. Who would you be playing Baker Mayfield over going into Week 12?
I would keep your starting quarterback. I would only pick up Baker Mayfield if you need a streamer. If your guy's on bye.
So you're talking about the Pat Mahomes or
yeah, Cousins and Rivers. Owners that need a starter. That's the only reason I wouldn't drop someone.
Start him over Goff, I think.
Maybe start him. Yeah, Goff can stay on your bench.
I just dropped Goff, by the way. Yeah, Goff up against the Ravens.
Kyle Allen. Doesn't need to be rostered.
Yeah, against the Saints, Kyle Allen's definitely not a play. I'm really hopeful for Jameis to have a bounce back week coming up against the Atlanta Falcons. He's kind of a guy that should be owned. Can one of you grab his ownership percentage as an honorable mention here? I know Jameis Winston might be dropped after what was perceived to be a poor fantasy outing, but even though he threw 4 picks, he was still viable as a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think Jameis will be available unless. Yeah, you're right. Unless he's dropped, and then it's a hot tip. So
see who's dropped.
All these shiny waiver guys, Jonathan Williams, Bo Scarborough. Someone needs to drop someone.
Yeah, he's owned at 90%.
Okay, I am hopeful for him though. Josh Allen was fantastic this week as well. Goes up against the Broncos next week. We've seen him be pretty clean for 5 weeks. Hasn't thrown an interception in 5 weeks or turned the ball over. Got into the end zone 3 of those 5 on his own accord running. So Josh Allen's really good. Going up against Denver, I still like him. So there's not too many guys I would start Baker Mayfield over, but definitely Kyle Allen. And who was the other one we said? Jared Goff. Jared Goffel. And Mitch Trubensky.
No, I'm sure.
You like that one, Mike? You like that? Oh, okay.
Try.
We got a question from Easy real quick. Serious start-sit question that relates to Mark's waiver Week 12 list. Do I start Carr over Rodgers based on the matchup?
Do I start Carr over Rodgers?
A good quarterback, I would.
Let's get to that one in a second. You can think on it.
No.
We just have a man come in, Cali 800, Damian Williams or Hunter Henry tonight in the flex. I think that's a Hunter Henry for me. I'm not bought in.
I would
really
start Damian.
Mark, break the tie.
I think Damian too.
Okay.
Always take that RB upside. We're an RB podcast around here.
I would go Hunter Henry, but that's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me. Okay, back to Easy. Sorry, Easy. Yours isn't time sensitive, but
no, the play. Just because he's a game manager and a stud, and with the team healthy, I just think there's that's okay. I think that's what it comes down to.
I'm still going with the homie right here.
We know you are.
As you can see.
Yeah.
No, Aaron Rodgers is quarterback 9 on the year. He shows he can be matchup proof. If he does have a down game, it's probably going to be because Aaron Jones just lit the world on fire again. He's had 2 multiple score or triple or more score games, a 3 touchdown and a 4 touchdown outing, which obviously hurt Rodgers' upside in those weeks, but still great.
Josh Jacobs can do that too.
Totally
though.
agree. Totally agree. Agreed.
Yeah. Mac, send a tweet out with this link.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't already. We got some watchers on here. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully, comment on our video. What kind of miracles you need Monday night? What's going on? I need 11 fantasy points, and that's not have a negative point day. That's it. You could have 0 for all I care. I just have him. Need to have him. You can't fumble.
Please don't fumble. I'm going to tweet this out right now. Hopefully, get some more people in here with us. Where's my boy
Mark,
Taylor at?
Mark, talk about these wide receivers. It's a big week for the wide receiver position. On the Millie Maker and draft ups, you actually benefited if you had a wide receiver in your flex instead of a running back based on the performances.
Yeah, we've got Deebo Samuel, who's owned in 54% of leagues. Not surprisingly either. I've always thought he was one of the best talents at receiver on. And then with Emmanuel Sanders' injury history, that never really solidified him as the number 1 in my books either. But obviously, huge rapport between Jimmy and Deebo. As we saw yesterday, Deebo made some amazing catches. And not just that, but he was running the best routes. He's running the best that is basically
Kittle list.
Dominated, but I was going to say dominated by Kittle when he is on the field.
Yeah.
So with their best offensive player out of the picture, it has the door wide open for our boy Debo. And yeah, I mean, if he wasn't already picked up, but he's been getting picked up and dropped kind of all season long.
Landon, I kind of wish you followed your Ross Dwelly take the other day when we were talking tight ends for DFS. Man, if you had played him in your tight end, that would have been
I liked
monstrous.
him. I told you.
You had a great DK week. Sorry to interrupt, Mark. Your $5 play turned into what? 146?
Yeah, so my the one we shared, I cashed in 3 lineups in tournaments. So the one my Saints defense, I had him a lot of places. That was a right Jameis, basically right to the defender, took it to the house, and that's where I differentiated over a lot of teams. Having Kalen Balazs in zone, that's what did it. The one touchdown from Goddard also saved me there. Dwelly would have been I didn't play enough Dwelly, and I had Ingram in a couple spots, but it just wasn't combined with like a DJ Chark or John Brown. Yeah. So just it could have been big money, but it was little money, but I capped.
Right.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. We got a question here from Danny S. On YouTube.
What up, Danny?
Thoughts on running backs moving forward into the playoffs? We got Phillip Lindsay, James White, Darius Geis, and Devin Singletary.
We talked about Lindsay for the past few weeks. He's got a really good playoff schedule, and the coach came out and said they were going to work. In recent weeks, it's been kind of a 50-50 split with Freeman, and Lindsay saw, I think, 65%. So not a huge bump over Freeman, but I do like.
Yeah, I do as well.
As for the rest, Singletary, I mean, the problem with Singletary is that Josh Allen just vultures touchdowns, and it's that's what it's gonna be like in Buffalo. I do has the opportunity to score from 35 yards out. He's explosive. He's a dynamic, shifty running back, and that's where I think you might get those touchdowns from.
I do love Singletary, but here he does. I'll agree with Easy. He does have the biggest upside, but Denver, Chicago, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, the next 4 weeks. That is tough.
It's tough
for a guy that's had limited volume, who's still competing with Frank Gore, who's going to be in some low score matchups, unless Josh Allen can just flip the script somehow, some way. I'm not going to be rolling out Singletary in too many places if I can help it. In terms of White and Geis, it's going to be matchup dependent. White probably possesses the most consistency out of this group, but Lindsay would definitely.
Yeah, White's always
involved no matter who's going to get the share of the rock at the goal line or whatever. But I'm going to go Lindsay is going to be my front runner for this group 100%.
Yeah, and 14, 15, 16, they get Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo. That's New England's schedule. That is pretty good for pass catching running backs.
We were on the running back category, right? For
we were talking wide receivers.
Yeah, we're talking.
So Deebo Samuel, we featured him on last week's show. 54% owned now.
He was here.
Yes, he stopped by. A great guy. Plays Green Bay. Now, Green Bay's secondary has been the strength of their defense. However, they have, haven't looked fantastic, championship caliber the last couple of weeks. So they can certainly be thrown on. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo and company are to compete in this game, that Deebo Samuel and the other pass-catching options like Emmanuel Sanders and hopefully Kittle coming back will have to be used. So I don't think the ball will be able to stay on the ground the whole game. I really do think that they'll have to throw it. I love Deebo. I think he should be picked up everywhere. He's starting to trend in that direction, now owned in over half of leagues. If Deebo Samuel was available on your waiver wire, would you be willing to put him on your lineup for this week? And if so, how much of your remaining fab budget would you spend in terms of a percentage?
That's a good question. In a keeper league format, if you don't have many keepers right now, I'm willing to put in like a 20% kind of
and
fab bid on him.
Screaming 40 or 50.
Sure, maybe. And at this point, there's no point in saving it. You're right. There's no point. Debo's a player to have. Yeah, I could see the 40 to 50%. If you just really want him, if you just your team's really set and you want a guy that has that upside, but if you don't want to play him against Green Bay and then you got to wait, and if Kittle comes back, then his upside is capped a little bit. But I still like Debo. He was the go-to guy when they needed to win the game at the end of that game against Arizona.
Strong player too, though. Kind of exactly like what the scouts were saying about him before the season, right? He came to fruition in the past couple of weeks and showed his strength, which is an awesome, quality, young, grindy player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the next couple of weeks for them in terms of schedule: Green Bay, Baltimore, New Orleans. Not the best matchups. I think Green Bay is probably the best matchup of those three. Week 15, they play the Falcons. That could be a nice little play in championship or semifinal weeks.
Yo, the game is on, and LA is already in the red zone.
Please no Mike Williams. No. Please no Keenan.
It was
please run it in all day.
Please no Melvin Gordon. Field goal already.
Okay, that's good. Cool. In terms of Debo, I would probably spend anywhere from 15 to 20%. I think I'm with Landon. There's at this point in the game, there's no point in spending all of your, in keeping all of your fab. If you don't spend it, you lose it. You can't carry it over, so you might as well get that going. Have we talked about Devontae Parker yet?
No. Well, the only player we've talked about is Debo, and you just reiterated everything Mark said. So
just reaffirming.
Thanks.
I've been responding to YouTube comments. Get off me, bro. Devontae Parker. I don't personally love this play, but like you and Mark,
it's still shocking that he's only 59%.
Right, and like you guys
has been
right, like you guys said, you can't deny what he's been doing. So while I personally won't go ahead and roster him, I can see why people would be interested in having him.
Yeah. Mack, you have been talking about Devontae Parker all along, and you refuse. Like, you're the greatest hypocrite about Devontae Parker. I never heard someone so like complete refusal to ever roster him.
So in the offseason, I, like an idiot, bought into him, having a good start of the season and being worthy of my draft capital, and he burned me. And I vowed never to go down that Devontae Parker path again. I know in this business you're supposed to stay water, you're supposed to adapt. I am saying no.
When Mackenzie vows,
enough is enough.
Watch out.
Is
enough. All right, so who's getting in the end zone on this drive, guys? While we're here, who's scoring? Because we know the Chiefs are about to score. Who do you think?
I don't even have the name
say Tyreek Hill.
I would love Tyreek Hill. I have a couple showdown matchups.
Here's a I wouldn't call it a miracle for Monday Night Football, but I do need Travis Kelce to score 6.5 fantasy points to get me my 6th W.
Easy peasy.
I would hope so, but we'll see.
So for people listening, the Debo and Parker are owned at wide receiver. Let's talk about some lower-owned players. On our screen, we have Hunter Renfrew. It's just a PPR guy. To really like him, they have the Jets, another fairly good matchup. You could probably get him for a few fab. You don't have to spend too much on him, honestly. So, why do you guys like Hunter Renfrew?
I've liked him ever since Tyrell Williams recovering from that plantar fasciitis. Mm-hmm. It's just it seems like Derek Carr has a really good relationship with him and is willing to get him the ball more than 4 times in a game. And Tyrell has been consistent this year. He still, makes hay with the 4 or 5 catches he gets per game. But I just feel like Renfrow is maybe a little sharper, and that's possibly due to the, his health status.
Another guy that Anthony Miller Now, he had quite a few targets from Trubisky, but Chase Daniel is probably... And,
Such a
I mean,
joke.
he's a big-bodied guy. He's a red zone target. He didn't catch a touchdown this past week, but it's... he's a guy you could at least look at if you're really scraping the bottom of the waiver wire for wide receivers. Russell Gage, who got a touchdown, or no, he didn't. That touchdown got called back.
Cobb, but Mack, you had something to say about that. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
there?
So Randall Cobb has performed for you back-to-back weeks now in fantasy. He's gotten to the end zone. However, that has happened. It's happened. I mean, once was on a broken play 2 weeks ago, where they had I think it was a false start and just hucked it down the field, and it ended up being a touchdown. And then this week did he score as well? I believe he did.
Cobb, yeah. He did. Yeah.
So back-to-back weeks with a score. I mean, that's a huge boost to your fantasy production as a wide receiver. That hasn't been the case for him all year. However, for the next couple weeks, his schedule is terrible. And I don't love him going up against some of these teams. Landon, you had the schedule up in front of you, did you not, at one point?
At one point, I did. They play New England
next. They have the Rams in there. They have...
and they have Buffalo, Chicago.
So, I mean, we got...
Despite your Cobb jersey right behind you, right?
Yeah, that's when he was a Packer, helping them win Super Bowl championships. To be completely honest, I got to change that jersey out. I got to get a new one, but, little pristine auction signature, a little verification. Time to change it out, but it is what it is.
If you have any more questions about who to pick up and how much fab, send us a tweet. You can see our Twitter handles right below _SMS, Mackenzie's main account, and we all can see that SMS _fantasy and Mark Draft. He is full of great puns and quips and stuff to get you through the week. So favorite follow is Mr. Mark down there.
If you are a linguist, it is the Mark Draft _SMS that you want. Yeah. 100%. How'd you guys like that tweet I put out last night about Mark Ingram talking about I post him as a meme for
Loved it.
Loved it. That was a good one. I thought you guys might like that.
That's the kind of attitude I want to see.
And if you want to see what he's talking about, go check out
SMS Fantasy.
Yeah. Nice teaser. Part of the biz there, Mac.
All right. Anyone else we want to talk about?
Well, running backs.
Here we go. Running backs.
So Devontae Parker and Hunter Renfrow, unless it's a deeper league or a keeper league, Hunter Renfrow, I'd be happy in a dynasty.
Running back.
I'd be happy in a I know. I'd be happy in a keeper league. Outside of that, I'm probably not willing to spend too much fab on them, maybe 1 to 3%. Nothing crazy, just enough to roster them for the week. Running backs are a different story. Now, Jonathan Williams, 4%. He is a hot ad.
He's the hot ad or Yahoo most added. He is the guy.
Right.
Insane stat line yesterday. Yeah. Insane.
So when we were watching the games, he definitely caught my eye, and I was just Lane and I were talking off camera earlier, and I was like, is it going to be Hines, or we're going to see a Jordan Wilkins sighting, or is it going to be the Jonathan Williams show? And I believe it's going to be the Jonathan Williams show. He fits the role. He's 5'10", 220, looks the part, only 4% owned, has a decent matchup against Houston this week. If he can run to 50% of what Marlon Mack does, and that looks to be more of the case, I'm willing to spend, if I'm running back needy, I'm looking to spend anywhere from 20 to 25% on Jonathan Williams this week.
So, and he's a spot start. He's a guy that if you have a Dalvin Cook or Damian Williams or LaShawn McCoy or Melvin Gordon or Ross Neckler, you need a spot start. Jonathan Williams can be that guy. However, if you need someone long-term, the matchups are pretty terrible. Yes. In Tennessee, Tampa Bay, New Orleans coming up. Not a long-term guy. So he's going to be a first waiver party guy. So I kind of sneakily like Nyheim Hines as that pass catcher. All of those deep pass catching running back. and depending on T.Y. Hilton's status, and I think I just got a notification that Jordan Wilkins might not be good for Thursday night. So that's why
he's been banged up.
Yeah, that's why Jonathan Williams is even a better ad. And their offensive line is so good that it might not matter. But it's not a chalky start. It's not what you really want.
No. I mean,
But you might have to, and I get that. You might have to.
Yeah.
I'm not spending up on him now. That's just what I'm going to say. And to be honest, and I mean, maybe it's because I have no fab left because I spent it all on Brian Hill.
Yeah, I mean, Houston is a top half defense, only allowing 102 rushing yards per game. Like I said, it's an okay matchup. But I think, if you're without a Dalvin Cook or the guys you mentioned, or you're in the David Johnson category like I am, and you're like, I don't even know who. Like right now, I'm starting Ronald Jones over David Johnson.
Tyreek Hill banged up.
And David Johnson last week, I mean, RIP, rip in the chat, he got 0 carries? Like, what's that about?
David Johnson, I know. It's just he was on plays, like 30% of plays, but didn't get a carry.
So if you are in that realm with me, I mean, Jonathan Williams might be an attractive ad this coming week.
Yeah, they're on bye as well, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens after the bye if David Johnson's fully healthy. Mm-hmm. You might just not want to start him, period. It's pretty disgusting.
Are you guys okay with the... I know, Landon, you said you're not spending. Mark, are you spending on Johnny? Johnny Will?
I mean, kind of like Landon's take there for the pass catching ability of Nyheim Hines instead. I wouldn't go crazy on Fab either, which I'm not in either league, or any of my leagues, I should say.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Nyheim Hines would just be a little bit dependable in the situation. Just the defenses that they're about to face for running backs are not friendly.
Now, you can talk about your boy Darius Geis, Mark. I know you're big on him. You've been a fan of him.
He looked explosive.
Darius Geis, I mean, I don't know how big I am on him. I think the Redskins are always a team, low-key, I want to see succeed. But they have so much trouble getting the ball downfield that really without that big catch and run for a touchdown, Geis' stat line really would have been pretty Redskin-esque. Not a lot here to write home about. They don't have a ton of running. The most talented players on that team. He has been super unlucky so far in his NFL career, but I do like a running style. It's just that's not an explosive team really, and they don't bring a lot to the table, especially with Dwayne Haskins under center. They've got a lot to do, I'll say that, and I will happily hang on to him as a, but that's partly because I think this will be maybe the last season for AP. Is just he's week to week he's hurt, so I think the volume's going to be there for Darius Geis very soon.
What I was impressed with was his explosiveness after the surgeries, and how he can come back and look the way he did does lead me to see that he's the running back that I personally believed him coming into the NFL. You're right, Mark. He just had really bad luck. So there's upside, and if that's healthy, and potentially maybe Dwayne Haskins is ill, but they have some good young pieces. They're starting to see that with McLaurin. Maybe get a decent tight end, a good running back. Let Adrian Peterson be like, you know what? You've shown it this year. You've been pretty great. You've earned another contract, just not with our team.
Yeah.
Anyways, Bo Scarborough looked pretty good in limited work. Ty Johnson and J.D. McKissick are going to be probably involved. So he did look like the best running back.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I wanted to talk about him briefly. He's owned in 2% of leagues. Him and Williams, I mean, you should be trying to get, I think, one of them for this week. Dallas ranks right now middle of the league, 15th in stopping the run in yards on the ground against them. Bo Scarborough came in, dominated J.D. McKissick, dominated Tyler Johnson, one of the biggest waiver wire ads of this season so far. Many people bought into him when Carrion went down, and it never came to fruition. A lot of wasted fab on him. Bo Scarborough, 14 attempts, which was great to see, 55 yards and a touchdown. He certainly was the most involved back, looked the part, and did so against Dallas. I think this week coming up against Washington, I like his opportunity to have a good game. Washington right now ranks 5th worst in the league at stopping the run. So if he can have a decent game against Dallas, and with how Bill Callahan with how they like to run the ball in Detroit with Matt Patrician, I think that it could be a fairly decent and comparable outing for Bo Scarborough as well. So if you're in that spot start area and you need to fill a guy, I think definitely Bo Scarborough anywhere from 10 to 15%.
Yeah, good matchup too against Washington. So tight end's actually a really good spot. One of the better spots this week. I really like Noah Fant. Mackenzie, who are you after this week for tight ends? Especially if you have a Kelsey.
I do have Kelsey in a couple leagues next week, and I'm going to be without him. I'm also without Austin Hooper in a league. So I'm going to be after pretty heavily Ryan Griffin of the New York Jets, garnering the respect and the attention of Sam Darnold, gotten into the end zone a couple times in the last couple weeks, definitely filling in that Chris Herndon hopeful role that we all thought might come to fruition. Ryan Griffin has been the tight end 1 2 weeks now, which is crazy to think, but he has been a tight end 1 more times than Kelsey and Ertz, which is crazy. Combined, which is crazy. But I think Ryan Griffin presents upside as well as some decent volume, and in a good matchup next week against Oakland, who hasn't been great on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to roll out Ryan Griffin, and I'm going to spend quite handsomely to do so because I am desperate. We're going into week 12. If I can buy myself a little bit of a win or shore up that position and give myself some safety down the stretch, I'm going to do so with Ryan Griffin.
I like it. Mark, do you have any tight ends you like to add besides? Are you adding Gronkowski anywhere?
No, that's not really my style at all. I just don't think he's going to be. I don't know. Do you guys really think he's going to be making a big announcement that he's coming back to the league tomorrow?
I don't think so. Even if he does, I'm not going to play him.
Yeah. I think Cameron Brate maybe like a good game yesterday, and Jameis used to like him a lot, and I think it's just maybe something that's been forgotten in Tampa Bay. That obviously, O.J. Howard was made to feel like a bum yesterday. He let a ball slip out of his hands. Didn't get another target all day after that, and rightly so. But it was pretty. I think it was a bit petty on Arian's part to send Brate out there and give him the ball, 10, 15 times.
A little bit.
Maybe that's just me. Because O.J. Howard, I would say, is no doubt the better talent. But, I don't know. I was pretty impressed with Cameron Brate, and maybe it's the same player that we would have seen last year.
Unfortunately, Ross Dwelly can't play Arizona every week. If he was, he could be a tight end 1, but they play Green Bay. If Kittle remains out, it's not a terrible pickup. It's a spot start. I kind of like him over a guy even like Kyle Rudolph. Just I know Kyle's been pretty good as well, and he's not a bad spot start as well. Dallas Goedert, one of my guys. It's not a bad one as well, especially with all the injuries in Philadelphia. I don't mind Goddard.
Now, I'm going to circle back to the Rob Gronkowski thing and why I won't start him. The New England Patriots...
Even if he does say,
I'm not going to buy into burning my fab because Gronk, compared to earlier in his career, he was used a lot more as a blocking tight end, which he's quite good at. I don't think he's in football shape by any means.
He's skinny. He's really thin.
He's lost some weight. He looks skinny. Shout out to Babadoo. Thanks for popping in the chat from Vegas. He's out there with his. They just went to the Grand Canyon today. Looked pretty solid.
It did look
cool.
Pretty cool.
Hey,
His views lately have been awesome.
He just doesn't look in football shape, and I don't want to, get into a fab bidding war for the name. It's just the name. They've got guys that can catch the ball. That Ben Watson's doing okay, not fantasy relevant, but serving his part on the team. N'Keal Harry's coming back onto the field. Limited work this week, but he is affecting tertiary guys like Philip Dorsett and others. So, yeah, I just think with all that's going on in that offense and with how disappointing Gronk was last year, he finished as the tight end 10, but he was also 134 points behind the tight end 1. So a far cry from the Gronk of old, where he would go in the top 2 rounds.
You're right.
You're buying into the name of Rob Gronkowski. You're not buying into the current status of Gronkowski. So I think you just got to move on. Don't get caught up in the hype.
Yeah. Any defenses you really like this week that are available? There's Dallas that's available. They play Detroit. Yes, they play. What? No, they play New England. Never. That's not a good ad. People can play Indianapolis. They play Houston. Not a great matchup.
Detroit would be streamable and good against Washington.
Jacksonville plays Tennessee. Tannehill's been decent.
Would you play Green Bay against San Francisco?
And how?
Is Breida going to be healthy?
Does it matter?
It does matter. He's their number 1 runner.
Over Coleman?
Yeah. Yards-wise on the ground, he's their best. Coleman is a pass-catching back, and he did nothing yesterday. I think Breida is the best. Statistically, he's got to have way more yards on the ground. Coleman missed 4 games or something, right?
True.
But I still think he's the most. When Breida's on the field, that's a team that gets 150 ground yards every game.
Timeout. Can I get a kicker suggestion at the waiver on the waivers? Oh, we got Landon a little bit frozen.
Check the list? Who's got the best name? I just like to go based on kicker names.
I'm gonna try and refresh Landon here. We've seemed to have lost him a little bit. I cannot bring him back. Well, you're just gonna be stuck, Lando. Young-Hoo Koo, 14 points, 11 points. Kicker for the Falcons, plays the Tampa Bay Bucks next week, who are number 1 against fantasy kickers in terms of points allowed. Go get the Asian sensation, baby. Go get him. I'm liking that. I'm digging that. The money badger. he actually copyrighted that, by the way, which is crazy to think. Other defenses before we go. Oh man, I mean I'm still happy playing Buffalo. They were okay last week. Number 1 ads, I guess Cleveland, but I don't know. Would you play Cleveland? Would you pick them up? Yeah. Well, he's going to be out for a while. I don't know if you heard about that. Mm-hmm. Agreed. I'm interested in playing two teams that are on my waiver wires. I'm interested in playing Seattle and Jacksonville. Now, Seattle goes up against the Eagles. That should be a tight one. The Eagles look completely inept. Carson Wentz really, really struggled. They really utilized their we got Landon back. Hello. What the heck was that, brother? Okay, I was wondering what happened. I'm gonna reformat you here so that people can see your ugly face. Oh, it's because you went to the blur. That's why.
On my Skype again, and that's what happened.
Yeah, the Eagles look terrible. I'm okay playing Seattle. They've been half decent this year, but I do like the Jags. A lot of sacks on the year. They haven't looked, terrible, and they play the Titans. If they can stop the run, I'm not afraid of Ryan Tannehill. So I think the Browns could be a good spot start at defense, as well as the Seattle Seahawks and the Jacksonville Jaguars. You agree with that, Lando? Easy said, sorry, boys, for not being able to listen, but are you guys talking about the Tyreek Hill injury? So
yeah, looks like a hamstring.
Looks like a hammy. I didn't see the injury personally. Oh, Landon, now you are the Skype logo. What are you doing?
What's going on here?
You're killing me.
Bad.
You're killing me right now.
I'm coming back.
First, drop Tyreek Hill.
If you play in a league with me, go ahead and drop Tyreek Hill. I would love that.
It's a dream. Like, if you're going against Tyreek and you couldn't have, 1 point against you.
I didn't see it, but you think he's out for the game.
That is.
It looked bad. It looked like a pretty decent hamstring. It's not something you come back with.
A week off.
A tie week?
Real.
Okay, so if you get to do this right now. If anybody, Demarcus Robinson, McCole Hardman, Sammy Watkins steps up to fill the void, who's it going to be?
Hardman's going to be the guy. I already have him in my league, so I think he might be the hot wide receiver ad.
Mark?
And intercepted by Chargers.
Mark, who are you going with? Who steps up to fill the role?
The role, probably Hardman, just because I think he's the guy with the speed that can kind of match almost.
The answer is simple.
I think Watkins is the more positional guy. Byron Pringle.
Oh, that is out of left field. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce.
Oh, come on.
I'll go DeMarcus. Oh,
DeMarcus Robinson, yeah, like that.
Flaming Orlando. He says he thinks the Skype logo was an upgrade to what we've got going on here. This ugliness.
You guys are funny.
Rayshon Jenkins just picked off Pat Mahomes.
Okay. All right, before we go, give me your prediction on this week's score. How many points?
Tonight's game?
Yeah. How many points does this man score?
Fantasy points.
Looking good, by the way.
21.12.
I was going to say 26.8.
Yeah, he's probably going to go for at least 25, maybe 30. What's the score of the game? Last thing.
3-0.
No.
Chiefs.
Yeah, thanks, Landon.
Right now.
I can say for sure it'll be at least 3-0. No, what do you think? What do you think? Final.
It'll be over.
31-20.
I think the Chargers win 24-21.
Wow. Ooh. Not gonna happen. I'm gonna go 20.
Realized we had an idiot on the podcast.
You've known that all along.
I'm gonna go 28-24 Chiefs.
Dang. I just need Melvin to slow down. He's been hot. People talking about this. Holloway just tweeted that the field caused Tyreek's hamstring injury. Hot take.
Oh, and Scotty says that he's going to beat Minnesota in the league of record. That would be very, very nice. I think I'm going to beat Mark in the league of record, and
I think so too.
You're welcome. All right, guys. If you've been kicking it with us,
waiver wire.
What? Say what?
Okay, go ahead. We can sign off. Who do you hope for that you're going to get on Tuesday morning in waivers? Do you have one guy that you hope to get?
Ryan Griffin. That's my guy.
Okay, Marky, do you have a guy that you're hoping to get?
Nothing
yet?
Don't think on it too long.
No.
I'm hoping Baker Mayfield. I hope I get Baker.
I think you'll get him. I don't think there's going to be too much competition.
Man, Melvin Gordon's going to kill me today.
All right, guys. If you've been kicking it with us the entire hour here, we appreciate you. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Hit the bell. You'll know when we go live next time. We usually do this Mondays or Tuesdays. Help you get ready for your waivers. But sadly, we're only going to be doing this for another 4 or 5 weeks. And then I can't believe the season's almost over. But this is what you need to do. You need to grind. You need to pay attention. You need to stay in the know in the next couple weeks to earn that paycheck, to get that trophy, and to get that title. So for Mack, Mark, and Landon, thanks so much for being here with us. Saturday Morning Snap, we are out.